This is new motivate story. Let's go start it.
How do I keep going when I don't see success? The alarm buzzed, and I barely had the energy to turn it off. Another day, another attempt, another disappointment waiting to happen. I rolled out of bed and stared at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes looked tired, my shoulders slumped under the weight of exhaustion, not just physical, but emotional. It had been years of trying, years of pushing forward, yet I had nothing to show for it. I had dreamed of this moment, the moment where all my hard work would finally pay off. But that moment never came. I tried. I failed. I tried again. I failed harder. And now? Now I was questioning if I had anything left in me. The struggle of an unseen journey. I had spent the last 5 years building something I believed in. At first, it was exciting. Every little milestone felt like proof that I was moving forward. A new client here, a small recognition there. But eventually, the progress slowed. The people around me were moving ahead in their lives, getting promotions, buying houses, achieving their goals. And I was stuck in the same place, grinding away, hoping for a breakthrough that never seemed to come. I had tried to stay positive, telling myself that success takes time, that setbacks were part of the journey. But as the years dragged on, I couldn't shake the nagging thought. What if I never make it? What if all this effort was for nothing? Fighting the doubt. I used to believe that hard work was the answer to everything. If I just kept going, eventually, I'd get there. But what happens when you keep going and you don't get there? I couldn't count how many nights I had spent staring at my laptop screen, feeling like I was running in circles. I had done everything they said to do, set goals, stayed consistent, pushed through the hard days. But I still felt invisible. I started questioning everything. Am I even good enough? Is this dream even worth it anymore? Would it be easier to just give up? I had always thought that giving up was the worst thing you could do. But now, it was starting to feel like the only option. The moment of collapse. One evening, after yet another rejection email, I broke down. I sat on the floor of my tiny apartment, my head in my hands, feeling the weight of every failure crash down on me at once. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw everything away and start over. I wanted to quit. But as I sat there, a new thought crept in. What if I wasn't failing? What if I was just in the part of the story where things got hard before they got better? I had read so many success stories, people who had struggled for years before finally breaking through. And the one thing they all had in common? They didn't stop, even when things were impossible, even when it felt like there was no reason to keep going. They kept pushing. What if I was closer than I thought? Reframing success. I realized something that night. Maybe my definition of success was the problem. I had been measuring it by external markers, money, recognition, validation from others. But what if success wasn't about any of that? What if success was simply about becoming better than I was yesterday? I took a deep breath and made a decision. I wasn't going to quit, but I was going to change the way I saw my journey. Instead of focusing on what I hadn't achieved, I would focus on the progress I had made. Instead of waiting for some big breakthrough, I would celebrate the small victories. Instead of seeing failure as proof that I wasn't good enough, I would see it as proof that I was trying, really trying. And that had to count for something. The shift in perspective. The next morning, I woke up with a different mindset. I was still exhausted. The weight of uncertainty hadn't magically disappeared overnight. But something inside me had changed. I no longer measured my success by the world's standards. Instead, I asked myself, am I improving? If the answer was yes, then I was still in the game. I decided to approach my journey differently. Instead of chasing one big moment of making it, I would focus on daily progress. Small wins. If I accomplished even one thing each day, it was a step forward. Lessons from failure. Instead of seeing failures as proof I wasn't good enough, I treat them as data, information I could use to get better. Rekindling the passion. I had started this journey because I loved it. Somewhere along the way, I had lost that love, replacing it with stress and self-doubt. It was time to rediscover the joy. I stopped obsessing over the outcome and started appreciating the process. And slowly, things started to change. Finding strength in the struggle. I wasn't naive. I knew that mindset alone wouldn't magically bring success. But something incredible happened when I let go of my desperation to win and simply focused on doing my best. My work became more creative. I wasn't just chasing trends or doing what I thought would get results. I was creating with passion again. I connected with others who understood my struggles, Instead of isolating myself, I opened up about the challenges, and I found a community of people on the same journey. I started seeing progress. Maybe not the massive, life-changing success I had dreamed of, but real, tangible growth. The funny thing about success is that it often comes when you stop chasing it so desperately. I had been so focused on needing results that I had lost sight of what truly mattered: consistency, growth, and resilience. The breakthrough that wasn't a breakthrough. One day, something happened. An opportunity came my way, one I wouldn't have even noticed before because I was too busy looking for something bigger. It wasn't the massive breakthrough I had once dreamed of, but it was a step, and that step led to another, and another. Looking back, I realized that I had been so obsessed with the idea of making it that I had ignored all the smaller successes along the way. Maybe I hadn't reached my ultimate goal yet, but I was no longer standing still. And that was success. Why I kept going. I used to think success was a destination, something you reach, and then everything suddenly falls into place. But now I know the truth. Success is in the doing. It's in the perseverance, the ability to keep moving forward even when it feels pointless, the decision to show up even when no one is watching. It's in the growth, the learning, the resilience. That's why I kept going. Not because I had a guarantee of success, but because quitting would mean never finding out how far I could go. And that was something I wasn't willing to live with. Embracing the journey. Months passed, and something incredible happened. I stopped obsessing over success, and yet, I started achieving more. It wasn't the grand, overnight success I had once dreamed of. There were no viral moments, no sudden explosions of recognition. But my progress was steady, real, and meaningful. And most importantly, I was proud of it. I had always thought success would feel like this one big moment, a finish line I would cross, after which everything would be perfect. But in reality, success was in every moment I chose to keep going. Every time I pushed through doubt. Every time I improved, even a little. Every time I refused to give up. That was success. And I had been experiencing it all along. I just hadn't seen it. Looking back, moving forward. If I could go back and talk to my past self, the version of me who felt like a failure, who was ready to quit, I'd tell them this. You're not failing. You're growing. You don't need to have it all figured out today. Just take the next step, and then the next. That's how success is built. I don't know exactly where my journey will take me from here, but I do know one thing for certain. I will keep going. Not because I have all the answers. Not because I know exactly when I'll get there. Not even because I have a guarantee of success. I will keep going because I refuse to let temporary setbacks define my story. I will keep going because every day I show up is proof that I am stronger than my doubts. I will keep going because the only way to truly fail is to stop. And I am not stopping. Not today. Not ever.